Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Very important developments in Avdiivka and Bakhmut reported by the Ukrainians themselves. And those are two of, I would say, five, not I would say, they say actually, I tell you because that's what they say. 2 out of 5 hotspots in the Russians' new offensive that allegedly started about a week ago. On the other hand, I assess that this is just the pre-offensive. The offensive is to come in the next week, I would argue. And why? Because of some information that I read. The Russians brought 19 battalions instead of 16, so they increased the number of battalions on the back of the front. They're not fighting, they're in the back, getting ready. So those battalions will not stay over there and play cards and drink vodka. They are probably getting organized and then assigned a certain kind of axis and points where they're going to be deployed and really start the offensive. Now, in this article, I have bad news, or at least, I think it's bad news, from Avdiivka and Bakhmut. Bakhmut, we already know about that one, but Avdiivka was for some time, it was on and off. Oh my God, there's a fierce battle over there. Nothing. When I talk about battle, I'm not talking about, shelling, clashes of infantry. So let's get going with the first article, which comes from the Ukrainian Ukrainska Pravda, and it is from today, February 22nd, 2023. The other one, I will complete and contrast with, so this information that the Ukrainians give us, I will contrast it and complete it, I would say, with what the Russians are saying, the 22nd of February. Okay, so let's start with the Ukrainians. So Avdiivka is almost completely destroyed, Bakhmut by 80%. So let's go on the map here, and here is Ukraine. Obviously this is the part that now the Russians have. This is what they had, the little gray things here with Zaporozhye and Kherson, and right here, Slovyansk, and then if you go higher here you got Kharkiv. This is a Russian map, so Kharkov is Kharkiv, okay, and Zaporozhye is differently spelled. And if you go here to other, like for instance, other names are different. That's what I'm trying to say. For instance, here you have Ugledar right here. I'm going to make it big. Ugledar is Vuhledar for Ukrainians. Avdiivka in Ukraine, look how they spelled it here. Avdiivka, and here the Russians is, where is it? Avdiivka. And then you have Bakhmut, obviously, and Bakhmut you have it Artemovsk. That's the Russian name. So anyway, let's go with Artemovsk, which is Bakhmut. Remember, this is the concerning area for Ukrainians at this point. If this gets broken right here and right here, then these guys will be encircled and the Russians can go to Kramatorsk, Slovyansk, free to go. So let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on in Bakhmut. All right, according to the Russians, Yan Gagin, advisor to the DPR, acting head Denis Pushilin, said that Russian forces were fighting near the city center. So that's what they have. So the Russians got in the city center and they will probably encircle the town. That's the whole goal, and then we're going to have a second Mariupol. And if we go to Avdiivka right here, which again, if they win again, you see that's encircling right here. And Avdiivka says fighting is taking place on the city's outskirts, so around it as of now. But if the Ukrainians, I don't even know what they expect to do. They have to push these these guys here. Otherwise, these guys are just going to encircle them. So this is from the Russian side. This is what they report. And then is Mariupol right here. That's another article stating that the Ukrainians use drones to destroy some fuel tanks here and deposits. The Russians say Russian air defense shot down 2 Ukrainian drones. Nothing about blowing up anything. The other one said, oh, it was explosions and all that. I don't know, as I said, they all lie. All I can do is just report both sides and, trying to use logic and consistency and get information from as many angles as I can to form a, I would say, more accurate picture than these guys are giving us little by little. So, Avdiivka is almost completely destroyed, Bakhmut by 80%. Russian invaders' attacks have almost completely destroyed the cities of Avdiivka and Bakhmut in Donetsk Oblast. The source: Pavlo Kirilenko, head of Donetsk Oblast Military Administration, during the National Joint 24/7 newscast. And I'm quoting, "As for the contact lines areas, the destruction there is incredible. If we consider Avdiivka, the city is almost completely destroyed. Our fortress city of Bakhmut is also destroyed by more than 80%, end quote. It's very interesting that they call it Bakhmut fortress city. Before, about a week ago, they called Bakhmut an unimportant strategically, and they didn't understand why the Russians are fixated, and they tried to use voodoo symbolistics. Oh, it just makes the Russians have a hard-on taking it, but it's no significance. And right now it's fortress city, important, blah blah blah, tra la la, because it opens the door to obviously Kramatorsk and Slavyansk. But as of now, definitely there was no importance, but now all of a sudden there is importance. So liar spends on fire. Both of them, is not only the Ukrainians. Details: at his states, Russian forces unable to capture contact line cities are using scorched earth tactics along the entire contact line in Donetsk Oblast. They use all types of weapons to destroy the entirety of the infrastructure. You know what's strange? It's strange because you can't have it both ways. You can't on one side to claim they go scorched earth tactics, and in the same time to claim the Russians have no more ammunition. Which one is it? It can't be both. I mean, if they use ammunition to destroy the city, that means they have ammunition. And if the destruction is as you report it is, and believe me, they would minimize the losses unless they beg the masters for more weapons. So if they say, well, we're losing, they're winning, please give us weapons, only then they overemphasize, or they say, oh, they're winning over here, they're destroying us. Otherwise, obviously, for obvious reasons, they will say, no, they're not good enough. So they gotta make up their mind. Are the Russians still have ammunition? It seems like if you're able to go scorch earth, that means boom, 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 carpet bombing, like, hey, Dresden in the Second World War by the good armies. Remember, not the armies, the Americans and RAF and the U.S. Navy, oh, whatever. No, the bombardments of Dresden. That's good enough. The Air Force, Navy. Anyway, so this is. They have ammunition or they don't. I think they do have ammunition, and I think those two areas will be eventually encircled, unfortunately, and I hope the Ukrainians hit the road before it happens, the same as it happened in Mariupol. That I mentioned that I didn't pick the article where they say Mariupol was attacked by drones, but you gotta trust me. No, don't trust me. Go and verify. And where they said that the Ukrainians used drones to destroy those fuel tankers over Russians, blah, blah, blah. And the Russians said, no, we shut them down. Now it's either or. And personally, I don't care. I'm just trying to find out what happened because I'm interested in overall front development. And we'll see if the Russians bring and start the real offensive before these guys bring their troops speaking very many other languages on the front with the modern Western weapons that are perfect and fantastic versus the rusty Russian bullshit, then the Russians are toast. They will be pushed back over the steppes, over the, how do you call it, towards Vladivostok anyway. done. So anyway, we'll see, we'll find out. But the situation is bad. I saw some pictures from Bakhmut, and yes, indeed, it is a ruin. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.